I love diversity, inclusion, and sustainable development YouTube community. Just want to make that clear. Uh, yeah, what's happened to Jeff Censored? Oh, where are all the videos? Well, there's a big purge going on, is there not? And we've been down this road many times before, and it's happened many times before. Even on this channel, I've completely cleaned the slate over and over. Like, this is probably the third or fourth time at least that I've done it. And so that's the answer, is that I deleted all of my content, including all of my live streams. And it sucks. I freaking hate it. Right? How can it be enjoyable to see all the hard work that you did? Just, and it's not just the hard work that you do. It's, all the people that contribute to each video, because it's like people just don't watch a video in a vacuum. It's like they read the comments and they see all the interactions and the community and all these things. So it sucks, and I hate doing it, and maybe it's all in vain anyways. But obviously, with the massive purge happening and apparently hundreds of channels going down just one after another, right, just like that, it's only a matter of time, the way I see it, before they get to my channels. Now, maybe if they look and they see there's nothing up there, maybe they won't terminate the channel, and I'll still have a chance to reach my audience. And that's why I'm doing this video right now, just to let you know that things are going to be different, obviously, on YouTube. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with the election coming up, and there's a lot going on. Obviously, Hunter Biden and all that crap that came out the other day is all being used to censor. The left-right paradigm is being played out. Section 230, which I mentioned in the video that I uploaded today, which I hopefully you had a chance to see, is all over the news. It's all tied together. Okay, I'll just bring this over here. Section 230, as you see. Look at all these articles here. With absurd timing, FCC announces intention to revisit Section 230. You can't make it up 8 hours ago. Trump versus big tech, everything you need to know about Section 230 and why everyone hates it, right? And then FCC chairman here coming out to clarify it. And Section 230 fight Congress, the fight Congress should be having, and everything else is playing out. Okay, why is this important? Because it deals with the internet and liability for content that's uploaded on the internet. Section 230 gives a clause to the internet giants that allows them, or it means that they'll never really be held liable for anything that gets put up on their platforms, regardless of however offensive or egregious someone might think it is. So Trump is now threatening to pull it, and the FCC is saying they're going to revise it. The media is saying everybody hates it, and even with Jiki and Co. and characters that coming forth with it. So this is all tied together. It's all tied with the election. And I believe they set up the whole Hunter Biden narrative. I mean, the picture of him with the crack pipe or whatever. So the whole QAnon thing, we kind of knew this was coming at some point and thought maybe a few months ago it would have happened, maybe 2-3 months ago, but it happened today. And a huge amount of channels went down. Big channels. And some of them million subs or 500,000, stuff like that, right? Really big QAnon affiliated channels, I guess you could say, for the most part. But in covering it today and seeing the language that I was showing on MSNBC and some of the other articles, it was clear that this is just the beginning, and that it's going to keep going, and they're going to clear the slate. So they want to get rid of all the conspiracy stuff. So, so what are we going to do, right? What does Jeff C do? What do other people do? Well, the first step to do is just clear the content to hopefully save the channel so I can still have a voice and hopefully reach people. And then, of course, is going to be where to go next. It's probably going to be BitChute for the time being, because I already have an account there, and I'll be able to upload there, hopefully, right? And not get censored. And as far as live shows, maybe D Live, I don't know. It's so confusing how to use it and all that, but we'll figure something out. But the bottom line is I'm not I'm not leaving or anything. I'm just bob ducking and weaving. I'm, it's like I'm being a prize fighter or something, right? Sometimes you got to roll with the punches. You got no choice. So I've lost so many channels that I have this channel phobia every time I start getting hits and strikes or I see a purge happening that I usually clear the slate. Now, last time, or one of the last times, I remember when Crowder, and there was supposed to be a big purge with Crowder, louder with Crowder, right? And they even mentioned that. I caught an article here. Yahoo Finance all markets roads to recovery. I don't even know what this is. Why did this come up? This is the section 230 here, but I did have an article here that I was reading before. Yeah, this one. This came up a few days ago, and they were talking about on Bloomberg here about why or how Crowder didn't really suffer what happened. And this was in June 2019, if you remember, when they were going to take him down. They're going to take a whole bunch of other channels down. And then he's making more money than ever, right? And the whole game is played out. I found it very interesting, though. Ted Cruz has been popping up as well in a number of things, including this section 230 here that I just covered. So, where is it? Section 230 here. And here they are talking about the different sides coming. Some of them saying, this censorship is totally justified. And others saying, well, now we need to repeal the Section 230 because these internet corporations are clearly leftist leaning and they're censoring all the conservative critics and all that. And I also saw earlier that Trump was being grilled by some creature about QAnon and whether he would come out and call it out. And instead, he flipped it and he said Antifa. That's what he does. That's his role. He's going to do that. It's just the left-right divide and conquer that's being played out. And it doesn't look good for the election coming up because probably neither side, whoever gets the selection, the other side probably not going to recognize it, and that could devolve into something serious. But as you see here, why does Trump hate Section 230 here? Section 230 has critics on both sides of the aisle. Democrats and Republicans generally agree that the social media platforms should be held more accountable for how they police content. And they've introduced a number of bills, none of which have gained traction on Capitol Hill. Democrats, including presidential nominee Joe Biden, have urged Congress to revise Section 230 to make tech companies more accountable. So you see, the demon rats are saying we got to revise Section 230 so that we can make the corporations more accountable for hate speech, which is, destruction of freedom of speech. Whenever you see hate speech, it means destroy freedom of speech. That's all. Right? And then Trump and co counter saying that we need to either do away with Section 230 because these internet corporations are violating this and they're abusing this out that they have, and they're using it to censor unjustifiably conservative networks. So you see the whole game that plays here. Republican critics accuse tech companies of censoring conservatives and limiting their reach on social media. There's no clear evidence to support those claims, which tech companies deny. And then President Trump and his surrogates have been the loudest critics of Section 230, and Trump has repeatedly called on Congress to repeal it. The Justice Department has asked Congress to adopt a new law that would hold Facebook, Google, and Twitter legally accountable for how they moderate content. Trump's actions on Section 230 have intensified in the final weeks of his election campaign as social media companies label or remove posts they deem false or misleading or that could lead to harm and incite violence. So some of the language, and this is what's important to pay attention to, because it's easy just to say, oh, it's just QAnon, don't worry about it. It's probably not good. No, listen to the language, because what they say, they start off with QAnon, and then they say people pushing stuff like plandemic, right, and things like that, and that's a real problem, and that this is just the beginning of the whole cleaning the slate sort of thing. So you see the two forces, how that's playing out with the whole selection coming up here. The Democrats or the demon rats on one side saying we need to tighten Section 230 or we need to alter it so that these corporations can be held liable for hate speech, whereas Trump's saying we need to do away with it because these corporations are using it, and they're using it to, well, they're, unfairly censoring. So if either way, it doesn't bode well for people like us, either way. Because if Trump does away with Section 230, then Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and co. will all say, well, we have nothing to protect us now from liability. Therefore, we're going to censor even more. And then if Biden co. get their way, then they're gonna come after the social media giants for allowing hate speech. So that will cause the social media giants to censor even more. And then either way, it leads to more censorship, if you see what I mean. That's what's happening. Now, the real solution, of course, it's not going to be implemented, is the monopoly whole thing, because you're not allowed to have monopolies. It's against business laws, American business laws, right? And it should be, of course, because a monopoly, it hurts the consumers, it hurts everybody, except the monopoly itself, because it has complete control over the market. YouTube has a complete monopoly, absolutely quantifiable, provable in every way, shape, or form on the video and streaming sort of market. So they should be, potentially labeled as a monopoly, and therefore, because they're a monopoly, they have to be either broken up, or there has to be an allowance for strong competition. Now, if we did have competition, and it was like the old free market capitalism competition, and other people came up and said, hey, you know what, we're going to give you that snappy sort of YouTube sort of upload service, and the professionality of how YouTube functions as composed as or compared to, say, BitChute and whatnot, then, people could flock to another platform and rebuild themselves, and they could say, look, we're not going to censor you. We're not going to censor you. We're going to allow freedom of speech. And that's what we've always kind of been hoping for all along, doing this work, and it's never really happened. And you can say BitChute, but BitChute is so tiny compared to YouTube. Most people on YouTube never heard of BitChute, and probably never will, unfortunately, or whatever, right? It's either part of the whole control scheme. But the reality is that if we all flock over to BitChute, which it looks like that's what's going to happen, yes, your audience will probably follow you there for the most part, but nobody else will. And then you'll be in the choir, right? Preaching to the choir kind of thing. Not that people shouldn't do that, not that there's nothing good about that, but the reality is when you're on the big platforms, you have an opportunity to reach a much bigger audience. And like me doing the Penguin Zoo podcast, for instance, right? That's an opportunity to reach mainstream audience and plant some seeds, right? And get out there. If I'm not on YouTube, nobody can find me. Nobody knows, or very few people would. So it's quite a thing that's going on here. And you see here, YouTube Purge. YouTube Purge's QAnon program in Utah. A GOP candidate. YouTube moves to purge harmful conspiracy theories. And that's BBC News. And that's really the important sort of headline. And that's the reason why I deleted all my content today. And it hurts to do it. It does. It hurts me. I don't like to do it over and over and over again. But I even hate more is losing channels, because I've lost so many, right? And it really sucks, because you put so much work. Right, so much work into research and working on videos. Like every video that I produce requires lots of research or lots of editing or whatever. Right, if I'm making a music video or something like that. So yeah, that's where it is. So we're facing this real crazy time now with the scamdemic, or I can't even say that. You know what, right? And then the election and everything happening, the BLM and everything going on top of it. And now you have this this big purge coming in. And as I said, it's a lot of big channels. I'm sure people probably know a lot more than me about how many channels have been taken down. But a lot of big QAnon affiliated channels have been completely annihilated by YouTube. And that's just the beginning, as they're saying. So I think, people should be thinking that there's a very strong chance if you're doing similar type work that you're going to be caught up in this dragnet, or that they've already got it planned that you're going to be in the next phase, or maybe in tomorrow or the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks down the line. Also, with the election coming in, they're ramping up the whole Russian interference narrative and all this stuff as well, along with the QAnon. So, YouTube mass purge popular channels after announcing, right? You see? YouTube launches major new crackdown on QAnon. Daily Beast. You don't say. YouTube bans videos claiming potential COVID-19 vaccine can kill them or make them infertile. So that's from a day ago. And again, right? That's not the type of stuff that I'm putting out. But how long is it before YouTube bans videos that are questioning or that aren't complying, right? And that's why, okay, look, I've done a lot of things, all right, to avoid censorship. I've self-censored to a certain degree. I've cleaned up my language quite a bit. I hope you guys appreciate that. I mean, I'm on podcasts and I'm spelling out profanity, and like I was on the Penguin Zoo podcast and I was spelling out SHIT and they were laughing their asses off. They're like, you can swear here. I'm like, no, I'm so used to not talking that way because I'm trying to keep my tone down and control things. But just the titles of my videos alone, you see most of my titles have been Jeff C Live or Bone Broth or whatever. So, and even the screenshots that I show are not too revealing of what the content is or all that, because I'm so highly cognizant of all this censorship. That's why I called myself Jeff Censored many moons ago, sort of thing. So yeah, what's the solution going forward? Well, one of them is going to be alternative platforms. Obviously, as I said before, Patreon. If you come to my Patreon, you sign up, you'll get everything, because anything I post anywhere, it could be an article on Steemit or a video on a YouTube or Liberty, whatever place that doesn't like vowels, or wherever. Like because I'm gonna go to some of these platforms and start trying them out and seeing how they function and stuff like that. But it takes an enormous amount of time. So I encourage you, if you can, to sign up for my Patreon, and you can do as little as $2 a month if you can afford that. That would be great. And then it's just a matter of, there you're going to get the emails, because the emails come and they'll tell you I uploaded a video or I posted a new post or thing. Anyways, but for like all of us here on YouTube, or just in this realm, we all have to start thinking more long term and thinking strategies, how we're going to function in this highly censored sort of realm that they're creating, and see what comes available and what our best options are, and try our best. I mean, again, this is a bob, duck, and weave move here. This is not fun to do this. It's not fun, it's not fun to clear all your videos off your channel. It's not fun to delete all your live streams. Like I deleted hundreds of videos today, and yeah, like I don't know how many live streams that I've done. And again, this is not the first time, even on this channel. I think it's the 4th or 5th time that I cleared everything off the channel. And there's one video left here, which is me drawing a rainbow unicorn, which was from the last time I cleared that, just so you could see, right? A year ago. But that wasn't even the last time, because I cleared a few times in between as well, because there were other mini purges that happened. But this is a big one, so I can't just, And I thought long and hard about it, and I was like, and I'm hearing all the channels that went down. I'm like, So, again, look at it this way. From your perspective, you good people that are listening to this, what's going to happen if Jeff Censored goes down and Supreme Lord Commander and like there's no backups and Jeff C's not on YouTube? How are you going to find me? If you don't have my BitChute channel, or if you're not on my Patreon, or you're not following me on Twitter, and Twitter's going to be next, by the way. They already said it, and it's already happening on Twitter. They've already banned a whole bunch of accounts, so it's probably just a matter of time before Twitter's the same. So it's up to you now to take this extra step to make sure that you stay with me. And I will try to set up an email list and things like that over the next few days or week or so, hopefully. So that I can still reach folks. But we have to anticipate that this could be the end of this to work on this platform. And it's regrettable, but come on, right? The writing's on the wall. So anyways, I just want to say thank you all so much for all your support and for sticking with me, some of you for many, many years now. And I'm a fighter. I keep going, so I'm gonna keep at it. What I'll probably do here on YouTube is what you're probably gonna see is me doing live streams and uploads, but then taking them down really quickly after, sort of thing. So it might be you might have to catch it live, and if you don't catch it live, you'll have to catch it later on BitChute or something like that. But I'm hoping to still maintain a presence here on this platform if I can for the foreseeable future. And if I can't, well, then I'll be where I'll be. So it'd be up to you to make sure that you have all my links bookmarked and as I said, if you can take that extra step to come and support me on Patreon, that is absolutely amazing, and you help me out so much, and I can't say enough, because that actually pays bills and puts food on the table. So it's super important. And I know so many people out there are struggling. It's really awful what's going on. It's really awful what they're doing to us. And we got to fight. We got to keep on swinging. So anyways, much love to you. And stay up with me if you can. And we'll do the best that we can. I'm going to upload a lot of the videos that I've taken down on BitChute over the next few weeks or so. I'm not going to put them all up at once, but I'll put them out, maybe a 2 or 3 a day sort of thing. So people that miss that stuff will be able to get it. Anyways, it is what it is, folks. And the writing's on the wall. And we got to do our best. And you know what? The more that they come down, though, the more that they censor, the more obvious it's going to be, hopefully, to the masses that they're just wiping out freedom of speech. And hopefully it'll come back to bite them. And maybe something good comes out. Maybe Trump will break up these corporations, which I think should, with all due respect, YouTube community, if you're a YouTube employee listening to this, I don't want you to lose your job or anything. I lost my job to this whole thing that's going on. But YouTube is far too powerful. And I think it's a full-blown monopoly, and I think that people, we need to champion freedom of speech. It's so important. It's never been more important. So, anyways, much love to you all. Thank you all for being here. You guys are the best. God bless you all. See you on the next one.